Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Pages. And today we have Danielle. Danielle, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Deb. It's so nice to be here.
So let's start off. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. I live in Perth, Western Australia. I am a debut novelist. This is my first release.
So exciting.
It is really exciting. Um, I also work a full-time job, a corporate life. That's another life that I keep
Hmm.
separate. Um, I've got two wonderful little doggos, which you may hear running around at some point during this interview. But yeah, life is pretty good.
That's good. So exciting. So your debut novel will be released soon. When can we expect it?
Yes, so it's actually released next week on the 28th of March. So one
Ooh.
week today.
It's so exciting. So can you tell us a bit about your book? What is it about?
Yes, so it's a contemporary fantasy novel. It's high fantasy. It's set in a kingdom that is parallel to the Earth Kingdom.
Hmm.
It's got demi-fae, oh sorry, it's got fae, it's got wolves, it's got sirens, witches, and there is a demi-fae who is the FMC of the story, and it basically follows her life. So we start off with her experiencing something in the
Hmm.
beginning, and then it's the flow and effect of that and how that changes everything that she thought she knew into what is actually the truth, which we find out at the end. Yeah.
Sounds really good. Like everybody loved their witches and wolves and real fantasy. So what was your inspiration of writing a fantasy?
Well, okay. Ever since I was young, I've always been enthralled by fairy tales and fantasy books. My first like adult sort of novels that I got into was Stephen King and Dean Koontz, believe it or not.
That's
Four past
something
midnight.
else.
I know. I think I started reading Stephen King when I was about 13. I was obsessed with
Okay.
him. Um, but I have always loved fantasy worlds, and that has never left me. And the ending of this book was something that I had in my mind, like the very last chapter, I've had in my mind for an extremely long time. It was just a scene that came to me,
Mm.
but I never did anything with it. And then I read Crescent City. And it was reading the first Crescent City that inspired me to put pen to paper. And the story just came together from there.
It really sounds good, to be honest. Like this inspiration. So would you say the author, when you read Crescent City, would be like your inspiration to really start off? Like Stephen King is something else.
Yeah. So I've always read fantasy. My bookshelves are full of fantasy. I think with Crescent City, it was more about um, the world that Crescent City was set in,
Mm.
because I always knew that my city was not like my story was going to be more contemporary. But I hadn't read a lot of contemporary at that point. So I
Mm.
really didn't know where to start. A lot of my fantasy had been traditional fantasy. And I wasn't even sure if I could go down the path of something a bit more urban. So I think Crescent City for me kind of opened that world up a little bit. And I
Mhm.
realized that, oh, I can have high fantasy in a contemporary setting, because A Kingdom of Curses, the Emergence, is actually very high fantasy. It's a very unique world. It is, there are similarities to our realm, but I really wanted it to not be paranormal or anything. I really
Mm.
wanted it to be a high fantasy. So Crescent City opened that up for me.
Well, you come from a corporate life, so how difficult was it for you to actually sit down and like, hey, you know what? I'm going to write this book.
It's really hard, I'll be honest, for two reasons. One, time,
Mm,
but the other side is my corporate role. I write a lot of legal jargon. So having to separate my mind from legal work or legal words
mm.
um, uh, to to novel kind of speaking, like to have prose and emotion coming from a place where I cannot have emotion. It's been very difficult juggling the two, and I do find myself slipping. I get to work sometimes and I write a letter, and my boss will be like, like, you really
Maybe we don't really care about the feelings.
say so it is hard sometimes. I don't get to write a lot after work.
Mm.
Um, but interesting enough, whenever I get on the bus to go to work, I get very inspired when I have my headphones in. So I use my phone and I have notes, and I write a lot in my notes when I'm going to and from work, just so I
Yeah.
can keep up. Um, just basically like keep up with writing. But it's the
Hmm.
weekends. That's really the only time that I get like a good solid chunk to sit down and get like a few hours of writing out. Yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult to juggle the two, especially with a full-time job.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's
I mean,
hope that after this debut, you just can focus on writing.
it would be nice.
Nice.
Honestly, I would be happy if I could even go down to 4 days a week.
So tell us a bit about your characters, especially your main character. Like, how did the development go?
So, Paige, my FMC, is um, she starts off kind of weak, and
Mm,
I generally I've found this with a couple of other works that I'm working on at the moment. I think I like to start my characters off a little bit weaker. Um, Not necessarily weak characteristics, but
mm,
not strong, not they've been through trauma,
mm.
they may not be so sure of themselves, that sort of thing. And then I
Yeah.
like to see their development through the story and come out the other end, like this strong, powerful woman.
Mm,
So Paige very much is that, she's a demi-fae, so she's half human, half fae. She doesn't fit in anywhere. She has these powers that she doesn't understand, um, and she can't control. She has always been judged and stared at and gawked at, so she never really felt like she fit in anywhere. Um, and so, like, that plays across on the page a lot. But
mm,
she's also got a massive heart and really empathetic and loves the people that are in her life. She has a lot of love to give. And that can be her greatest strength, but also her biggest downfall because she puts trust in people that shouldn't necessarily put trust in. And that comes from her wanting to fit in. And it's more about her seeking acceptance and blindly putting trust in people because they're paying her attention. But through her journey, she's going to learn that that's not always the way. Just because somebody's paying you attention doesn't necessarily mean that they've got your best intentions at heart. So, and it's a hard lesson to learn, but yeah.
it definitely is. And when you were like creating your characters, like I'm talking to a lot of authors and they telling me, you write what you know, and there is pieces of me shattered throughout all my characters. How was that for you? Pretty much the same.
It's honestly, I just got goosebumps. It is so true.
Mm,
You do write what you know. And one of the things that I've always thought about with writing is like to write something really emotional, you do need to draw from experience in that to some degree, not necessarily to the entire degree, but you need
hmm
to have a foundation of that to be able to understand and put yourself in the character's shoes, to be able to respond accordingly and react accordingly. And, and it's hard because, quite frankly, what you put on paper, it's your most vulnerable parts of yourself that you're putting out there for the world to read. And they don't necessarily know that. They just see a character. But for me,
Yeah.
like, Paige's experiences definitely mirror a lot of my experiences, especially when I was younger growing up. I
Mhm.
never felt like I belonged anywhere. I was this weird kid that loved art and writing and lived in a fantasy world, and my head was in the clouds. And people thought I was weird and strange. I played with crystals instead of dolls. And
Welcome in the life of artistic people.
yeah.
Yes.
I live a my life is kind of whimsical in my house. There's
Mm.
music, I sing, I narrate this is very weird, but I narrate my life to myself when I'm walking around the house. I'm just this strange human being. And I didn't understand that for a really long time. And I tried to really dampen that
Yeah.
and put a lid on it and fit in. And I realized that didn't help me as a human. So,
No.
like, with my characters, especially with Paige, I definitely feel like I drew from that to be able
Mm.
to write her experience as being a demi-fae. Yeah.
I think it's important as well. Like when we read a book, we want to feel those emotions. And when you haven't experienced thing and you're not like any famous Stephen King author that
Mm,
knows by now, like, oh, yeah, but you need to draw from something, and to
mm.
feel the emotion is when you actually experience it and then you put it to paper and people feeling it. And it's the best. The best books are the books that you actually feel the emotions dripping off the page. But
Yeah.
I can understand that for like authors, it's really confronting as well. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you write about things and you're like, oh, I found this out about myself. Well, that's new. Thank
Yes.
you.
Exactly. I often say writing this book was the best therapy I've ever been through.
Oh gosh. It's true though.
Yeah.
You get so confronted with yourself, with the things that you've been through,
Mm.
and through the writing, you sort of like bring closure to certain parts of that as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. I found that it's very confronting because,
Yes.
a lot of the time we like to see ourselves as victims in a lot of
Mm,
situations. And we don't
yeah.
want to take ownership for certain things. And then when you start writing it, you start thinking, oh, hang on a minute. I'm seeing something different now. And it is very confronting, but it's extremely therapeutic. Yeah.
Big thing in like fantasy writing is the world building.
Yeah.
For some, it's the most fun parts. Some are like, oh gosh. How was that for you?
I love it. It's for me, building the world, like the world is in my mind already. It's that moment that's my artistic side. I get to tap into that and be as crazy as I want to be. And believe me, like, I've come up with weird words, names for things. Like, wine is not wine in my book, it's called vine brew. And, liquor is like the different types of fires. So you've got like amber fire, which is whiskey, and desert fire, which is tequila, and all of these things. So I creating things that's the fun part for me, the real fun part. I love it. It's the it's lighthearted as well. You get to take that hat off
Mm.
with the emotions and put the fun hat on and go, I get to play now.
Well, that's the best thing. Like The moment you can open up and you can see the picture in your head and being drew into your own story and actually play it. It is like a play, or you're like an actor in your own movie.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's a playground. It becomes your playground. Yeah.
I'm really excited. Did you have to do like a lot of research for your book, or
Um,
not necessarily, because it's like fantasy?
well, yes and no. I
Mm,
mean, because it's fantasy, and I created a lot of my own laws and rules,
mm,
there wasn't a lot of research regarding that. But then I have also created like a bit of an oppressive kingdom and like the monarch and everything. So I definitely had to do some research into how all of that would work.
okay.
And then I have like a warrior group of species. So I've done research into more military style, like rankings and stuff, because I wanted that to be kind of true. Whilst
Mm,
it's not mirrored off real life rankings, I needed to understand the hierarchy.
yeah.
Um, and even things as far as like fighting scenes. I'm not a fighter, so I had to do research on things like that. I often say, like, if my Google search was ever investigated, I'd probably be put in jail or a psychiatric ward.
My work, my work in progress is a thriller, and sometimes I'm going through it and I'm like, hope
Yeah,
nobody is watching this.
I know. Yeah, but
Mm.
so like with fighting scenes, especially, I
Yeah.
know, and there's some, there's definitely some groups of people out there that are like realists. So
Mm.
if I was to do a fighting scene and she was holding a sword, there's people out there that do sword fighting and they would understand the dynamics and the weights and all of that. So
Yeah.
I couldn't just have any sword. My FMC is small, so I needed to make sure that what weapon she used, she could wield it either with one hand or did she have to use two hands, and how would the body weight shift and the balance work. So there was a lot to do with like that where I had to research because I wanted to get
Yeah.
that as correct as
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we know your main character. Do
Yeah.
we have like a typical villain? Some
There's a few villains. There's a few villains. Um, I can't really say too much because it would give away a lot, but I have there's lots of supporting characters.
okay, yeah.
There's like obviously straight off the bat, I can let you know that like the king is definitely a villain,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's just because of the world that he has created. Um, and then yes, there's some others, but I can't say anything unfortunately because I don't want to give it away.
Well, look, that's suspense throwing at us, guys.
I know.
Jeez. So, without saying too much, um, and besides your main character, because that's always like, who would be your favorite character in the
That's
book?
that's an easy one. It's definitely a character named Guy. Um, he is a cinnamon roll. He's just a really beautiful character, very well rounded. He's been through a lot of trauma, which he shares that with Paige. But the thing that I really like about him is he gives her a lot of grace. He gives her a lot
Mm-hmm.
of space, but he also pulls her up on her stuff. But he does it in a way that is not overly confronting to her, so she can have a moment to reflect on her reactions. And
Yeah.
I really like that about him. And their relationship is really beautiful. Like
Yeah.
he's one of my favorite characters to write, definitely.
Not giving a lot away. So we have the main plot. can we expect some subplots like romance
Yes,
or
there's romance. There's so the tropes in this, like the subplots, we've got like hidden lineage, we've got found family, um, there's romance in there, there's betrayal, like who do we trust kind of plots in there.
mm,
But yes, romance is definitely a big subplot, twofold, because there's the initial romance that's like in the book, and
yeah.
then that moves into something else as well. So, you know, yeah. So there's definitely two romance subplots in there. Yeah. But no,
That's
not in that
enough.
way though. One ends, the other one starts, but they're both very different. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually excited. Probably because you won't give away. It's like,
I
okay, now
know.
I need to know what's going on.
See, this is something that I learned from Stephen King. It's all about the mystery.
It is, isn't it? Like, oh, I want to know. Um, so you had a bit of a moment that you say you're working on something else as well. So is it like a series or a second book, or would it be a completely different?
So I've got a few things going on. So this is definitely A Kingdom of Curses, The Emergence is definitely a series.
Yeah.
Two is with beta readers at the moment. So it's been written. Yes, it's with beta readers. When I get that feedback back in, I will start making some developmental edits,
Yeah.
and then that will go off to my editor probably maybe like around June this
Yeah.
year. I don't want to rush this too quickly because
Mm-hmm.
there is some exciting news coming out about A Kingdom of Curses soon. I know. I'm going to drop all the all the things.
I
Um,
should have done this interview then.
no, um, but and so I don't want to rush the release of it.
Mm,
Um, but I do have some other stuff that I'm working on in the background as well. So I've got two work in progresses that I'm working on currently. And I've just finished a dark romance novella that is going to be in an anthology with a group of other
oh,
ladies in dark
nice.
romance. Yeah. So I've got a few things on the go at the moment. As you can see, I find the time to write. Um, the dark romance novella aside, the other two are still fantasy. So one is
Okay.
a gothic fantasy set
Mhm.
in the 1900s. It is probably not high fantasy, but it gives like Cinderella, One Dark Window, Hunger Game vibes, which is a very
Okay.
weird mashup. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
that one. And then I do have another one that I'm working on as well. So there's a lot happening.
There is a lot happening. So now your book is coming out. What do you find most challenging about the whole process of like being an aspiring writer, having your debut book coming out? This scene must have been like, oh gosh.
It's overwhelming. It is really overwhelming. I think the hardest thing so far has been, and it's something that I've literally only learnt in the last 2 days, is reading reviews. Because it's great when you get the good ones in, but it's not great when you start seeing the mediocre ones. And it stings, it
Mm,
really does sting. And I'm just now trying to tell myself not to pay attention to them because they're always going to be there. You can't change it. You can't please everybody. You can never be everybody's cup of tea. But it's still really hard to see it and see
yeah.
it written on paper, especially when this has been 2 years of my life in the making, this book, and then to see someone say it could have been better. I'm like, how?
to be honest, you will read this book in a couple of years yourself, and you will be like, hmm, because you always progress. Like you start out, you're learning, it's your debut book, and it's
Yeah.
what you say, like how hard it is sometimes, like not every book is for everybody.
No.
Me, for example, don't like Lord of the Rings that much.
Wow.
Mm. And I get bombarded by people. How?
Yeah.
How? No, no, it's just not for me. And I love
Yeah.
fantasy. I love epic fantasies. Oh, no, it just didn't hit.
Yeah.
And I tried it. Like if everybody else, like millions of people like it, something's wrong with me. I need to reread it. No, no, I can't do it. So
Yeah. And you know, and I think that's okay. You know,
it is.
you don't have, not everybody has to like everything.
No,
You know.
no.
And I know personally, and this is something that I try to tell myself, that I know definitely personally that I'm a mood reader. So if I'm not
Mm,
in the mood for something and I'm trying to read it
yeah,
and I'm not enjoying it, that book is done for me. But it doesn't mean it's not a good book. It just means I wasn't in the headspace for it. Will I
true.
come back for it? Maybe, maybe not. That's okay. You know? Yeah.
Mm. But I can imagine that it must be like, it's your baby.
It
Like
is my baby.
nobody wants to hear, oh, that's some ugly baby. Like, no, even if it is, just tell it's beautiful and nice. And yeah, yeah. On the other hand, I also think that sometimes, like, not like the bad reviews or giving a 1 star. Oh, this was fantasy. I don't like fantasy. And like,
Yes.
just don't read it then. But
Yeah.
sometimes they have like really good feedback.
Yes.
Um, and I like those reviews. Like the feedback, oh, why did you think like the story wasn't good or what could have been better instead of, yes, could have been better.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. How? What did you miss? What did you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I can imagine that. But now the marketing will start.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm not looking forward. I am not a marketing person. I push myself to go on social media and do things, and I get messages quite often going, "You haven't shown your face on, TikTok or Instagram for a while. We miss you." And I'm like, I don't want to be on TikTok and Instagram.
Like Instagram took me a while, but I need to jump on TikTok as well because I want to have like these interviews on there as well. And
Yeah,
like having more people seeing indie authors and discovering new voices, new books,
yeah.
and
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and there's so many different platforms that you need to be on
yeah.
this way, and I can barely keep up with the original 2, let alone all the new ones that keep popping up, and
And what TikTok makes me like, yeah, I don't know, is because of all the hate. Like on
Mm,
Instagram and Bookstagram, like sometimes we have drama,
yeah,
but it's
no.
most people are supportive and they like to support indie artists and they like to read new books. TikTok, on the other hand.
Yeah, I have to say I've been pretty lucky with TikTok. My platform's bigger on TikTok than it is on Instagram, and I've had a
Wow.
lot of good engagement on
Yeah.
TikTok, but TikTok is also very fickle. It has an algorithm that it works, like the algorithm is very unusual. And if I go down a rabbit hole of something, then I'm off BookTok altogether, and my videos don't get pushed, and I've just lost all my engagement. And I'm like, wow, that's just from me searching, Yeah, so it's very, very hard. It's all time
Uh,
consuming.
it is, and that's another thing. Like you're an indie author, you're publishing yourself,
Yeah,
and you need to write as well. And
yeah,
so much time is going into all of the other things while you just want
yes,
to write.
I know. And I have to work. And then people say, "Why are you so tired?" I'm like, because I was up till 2 o'clock trying to engage people on social media.
Working on my Instagram here.
Oh, it's
Uh,
tough. But I enjoy it because this is what I want to do. And, I enjoy seeing the fruits of my labor as well. I know that I'm putting in all of this effort,
yeah.
and I think for me, it's like my book being released, that's something that I did. It wasn't
Yeah.
luck. It wasn't because somebody saw it and thought it was like this was me. I put it out there, and I think that is the most rewarding part of this.
So I'm sure you have a copy of your book.
I do, but it's not with
How?
me at the
Oh
moment.
no, that's okay. How did it feel to open that box?
Honestly, I feel like that was the best moment of my life. I cried. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, I almost feel like it's still gonna be better than my actual release date. Like holding that, like unpacking it and my book, like holding it, seeing it, my name, the artwork, the map, my characters. And I know it was a proof copy and it was before we'd done the final proofreading. So there's so many errors in it. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm carrying this baby. I carried it with me everywhere in my bag for like 2 weeks. This comes with me.
I'm not leaving you at home.
Yes. And every time I gave it to someone to look at, I was like, you can't keep it. Like, it's mine.
You can buy it though. On the 27th of March, you
Bye.
can own your
This is
own
the link.
copy. Um, sorry. As a debut author, what would be your um, advice to new writers?
I think the only advice I would say is keep writing. Keep writing. And there are so many options now for us to release our books. Like my very first novel that I wrote, I was 22, 22. It was a long time ago. And back then, self-publishing was like there was no print on demand service. It was you bought 1,000 copies of your book and then you had to walk around to bookstores and hope that they would buy it, and nobody has the money for that. So I never did anything with that novel. It just sat there, and I never wrote any more novels after that because I was like,
Mm,
traditionally published, like getting traditionally published was, to me, I just thought of it as like something that I would never be able to attain.
yeah.
So I put it all on the back burner. But now we've got so many options. And so for me, I think the only thing I would say is just keep writing. And then when you've got that story that that is good and you want it out there, a story that you're not ashamed to put out there, if you don't get picked up traditionally, it doesn't matter because there are ways now to get your book out there. If you're proud of your work, just put it out there. Yeah. And don't give up.
No, that's it. Like if it's your dream, just follow your dream. And like traditional publishing and self-publishing is so close together now. Like even if you're traditional published, you still have to market your book.
Yes.
Like, yeah, they can make a post about, hey, so can you. So the whole world is just like coming together more. It's not like the whole big thing because even as a debut author, you're not that big name yet.
No.
So there's a lot of work, a lot of marketing going on there,
Yeah,
which you can do as an indie author as well. It's real.
absolutely. And, my bookshelf, I've got a massive bookshelf, and once upon a time it probably was more traditional
Mm,
publishing authors. Now I look at my bookshelf and I reckon it's 60 or 70% are indie authors that are on there. You know?
40% Stephen King.
Mm. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, most of them are indie authors now,
Yeah.
and we have access to the indie authors so easily now as well. You don't have to go to an obscure bookstore to find them and to discover them. They're there. So, and indie authors write some amazing things.
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
like just the worlds, their prose. Like some of my favorite books are written by indie authors. So, yeah.
I have to say, like, I read a lot of indie authors as well, and some of them are amazing. It's
Right?
better than like a
Yes.
Stephen King one,
Yeah. They're
or
next
yeah,
level. Like some of
absolutely.
these are next level, and I'm boggled by them. Like, just how are they not picked up traditionally? But then I think, well, maybe they don't want that. Not everybody wants that. A lot of people want
No,
to stay in control of their creative process. And I do believe that you lose a lot of that through traditional. I mean, I don't know, I haven't done it, but
yeah.
you have people telling you, to cut this or to move this or to not do this. And,
Mm,
when you're indie, you definitely get to keep all of that control. So, yeah.
no, you're absolutely right. Like as a traditional published author, you just lose a lot and you don't have that full control
Yeah.
anymore. Or like I
Mm.
hear it a lot that you and I had it as well, by the way, like losing the ability to choose your own cover. Like when you write your story, you have an image in your head, like this is how I want my book to look.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Exactly.
So yeah, having that full control over your book, but also with your marketing plan and selling your books. And actually, like I think what people forget is like, yes, a traditional publisher will pay you for your book, but it needs to come back first before you get any type of
Yes.
royalties. And then your royalties will be like, really?
Yeah.
So when you now sell a book, it is yours.
Yeah.
You have all your royalties. Come
Exactly.
on.
I know. I sold 20 books to a bookstore the other day, and she just bought them outright. And I was like, that's my profit. Like, I got it back straight away,
Oh, that's
Like, I
amazing.
didn't have to wait 2 years till I paid back my royalties or my
Oh,
advance.
nah, that's it, isn't it? Oh, but that's amazing.
Yeah. I was
So,
really
like,
so
they bought 20 books.
yes.
You're in Perth. Are there any book signings coming up?
Yes, there is actually. So I've got two book signings coming up. Yes, we need to write these down. So the Indie Realm in Subiaco on the 29th of March, which is the day after my release. I will be there from 9 a.m. till 12 doing book signings. So everyone can come down. There will be hardcovers and my paperback, both available there. And
Okay.
also an attending author at Wild Out West. I just got accepted. So I'm
Oh,
really excited about
really?
that. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's
Thank
so
you.
good.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really, really excited about that. That's going to be a fantastic weekend. It's like
It
Perth's biggest book signing event that we have.
event. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Are you going to be there?
Mm,
Wonderful.
yes, yes. It is I love it. Like most of the authors I interview are from overseas, and it's so nice to have a local author that comes out with a book because it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, I know. There's not a lot of us in Perth.
No. So, are there any other things on the planning as well? Are you planning on like going different places for signings or things like that?
Yes, so I can let everybody know that I'll be at Sweet Love in Victoria as well in October this year. So that has been confirmed and I've been released as an attending author for that. So I think, I don't know the dates off the top of my head, but I think
Hmm.
it's on the 16th and 17th of October, possibly, or the 26th, 27th of October. I don't know. It's too far in the future at this point. But yeah, I will definitely be in Melbourne for that.
No, that will be good.
Yeah.
So, Melbourne fans and
Yes.
Perth fans, like,
Yeah.
oh, definitely. Um,
And there are
well,
some others in the future coming up. I can't officially release it yet. That's all because they haven't announced it. So yeah,
okay, well, keep us posted. Es-
absolutely.
And with us, I mean, especially me.
I will for sure.
No, it would be great to
Yeah.
see you
And
and
yeah, I'm
yeah.
hoping to do another bookstore signing as well. To Be Read bookstore that's just opened up in Midland. I don't know
Oh
if,
yes.
yes, okay. So they've just bought the 20 books. Yeah, so she's lovely. Lauren is beautiful. Um, so I will be signing all of the books for her. So all of the books that will be sold in her bookstore will be sold
Okay.
as a signed copy.
Signed copy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then we may do a signing later down the track as well with that. Um, yeah. So
Oh, that's pretty amazing. You will be busy, Danielle.
I will be very busy.
F- for now, I really want to thank you for taking the time to be here. Please come back when the second book is
Absolutely.
coming. Like, I'm actually really excited. Like, the suspense is killing me. Like, I need to know what's going on with Paige.
I know. I told you, I learned from Stephen King. This book has got so many twists and turns. It is almost like a psychological thriller, but a fantasy book.
I
All of the
can't wait.
reviews keep coming in with the same thing. They're like, the twists of this book. I'm like, oh, yes.
It worked.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle, and I really
Thank
hope
you.
to talk to you soon when the second book is coming.
Absolutely. Yes,
Maybe with
definitely.
less suspense, I
I
guess.
know. The next book I'm hoping will be a January release next year. That's what I'm aiming for. But
Yeah,
it'll depend on obviously editors and stuff like that. So
yes, I
yeah.
know us. We
And
we take our time.
I have to take my time. I mean, I know the book is finished, but I don't want to rush and try and get
No.
like too many books out all at once. Because I
Hmm.
know that the next two books in the series after that will take longer to write. So I don't want to give a false expectation of like,
Okay,
oh, you
yeah.
can release a book every 6 months. I really want to try and keep a realistic expectation of how often I can release a book. So
This part of the suspense.
yes, keep everyone on their toes.
Oh no, I need to wait for
I
another
know.
year. Come on. It
Yeah.
will be good. It will be excited. And I'm really excited for you that like it's going well. Like you're releasing it shortly or your book just has been released when this episode come out.
Yes.
So people The link to Danielle's books are in the comments. And of course, you can find another interview with some other questions and behind the scenes ones from Danielle on our blog, where you can find the links to her book as well. It sounds amazing. Do Paige a favor and just buy the book so you can read her story. Okay. Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deb, for having me. I've had a really good time.
Oh, me too. And I can't wait to talk to you soon.
Can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Guys, stay tuned for our next episode with another author and buy the book. Okay. See you all next time. Bye.